And I do think in some respects, Trump's victory has been overdetermined, or if that's the term I think they use in social science. I mean, people, when something big happens, everyone wants to say it had to have happened, and it reflects extremely deep forces and problems and causes. And there's some truth to that, and whether it's wage stagnation in the Midwest among the working class, or whether it's the rise of a celebrity culture, I think that was a big part. I say personally, that was what I most underestimated with Trump. I never thought he would win the Republican primary, and just to cause trouble, I didn't get him annoyed. I kept saying he wouldn't win, and then of course I was wrong, so then he ridiculed me and stuff. But I thought the issue thing, we've seen that before. We've seen people play the anti-trade card, the America First card. We've seen versions of Pat Buchanan and Ross Perot, though he was third party, and Ron Paul, and even businessmen with no political experience or little political experience, the Steve Forbeses and the Herman Cains, and they usually run, and sometimes they do well for a while, and sometimes they change the party a little bit, but they don't become the nominee. What I totally underestimated was 10 years, 12 years of having one of the top 10, 15 television shows in the country, and with all due respect to CNN and all these cable networks that we're on, these, the real networks and real night shows, you're talking many, many million more viewers than on all the news shows. And he had the huge advantage, he played himself, and he played a successful and dynamic and strong and successful version of himself, right? So, I mean, it's not like just some actor who becomes George Clooney or something might be a good candidate because everyone knows who he is and he's famous and is well-liked and everyone likes seeing him in movies, but he's still playing other people. I mean, I went to someone, I'm sure you guys had this experience, and Allison, you too. I mean, I went to some rallies and stuff, and I said, why are you for Trump? Well, businessman, he knows what he's doing, he's tough. I said, does he really know what he's doing? I mean, if you could talk to people in New York, his business career is not so great. And no, he's tough, and I've seen him make decisions, and it's like, really? And yes, I've seen him on TV. I mean, I do honestly think the reality TV show was an extremely important part of his success. Having said that, as Ramesh said, there's something hollow, it turned out, maybe in the party, and in the conservative movement. Those are somewhat different things that Trump was able to take advantage of. He was also lucky. I mean, he had 25 years. People aren't happy with the way things are going. It's a wrong track election for Republicans in particular. They're not only happy about the last quarter's, post-Cold War era it's been a mixed bag, but they really don't like President Obama, and they want to change. And so who does Trump get to run? Trump is the most outsider candidate, the most change candidate. And who does he get to run against? He gets to run against Jeb Bush, the son and brother of a former president. Never in American history have we elected someone who was both a son and a brother. And then he gets in the general election to run against Hillary Clinton. I think that helped him hugely. And I think the prospect of it, even before the general, helped him a lot. The notion that
not only did it help him, he still wants to imagine he is running against her.
No, that's really true, and that shows but that's shrewd of him in a way. I mean, he sees that that's what it was all about. It was like, oh my God, we've been governed by the Bushes and Clintons for 25 years. We've accumulated a lot of grievances in these years. Put aside whether people are much too unhappy about the last 25 years, whether they take all the good things for granted, whether they're very silly in some ways and thinking it's all been a disaster since 1990 or 1970 or 1950. I think that all that's true, personally. Nonetheless, there's a lot of sense of that out there. And he got the huge advantage of being the change candidate against a Bush and then against Hillary Clinton. And so maybe that was what accounts for success. Maybe it's a one-off. Maybe it wasn't inevitable. Maybe it doesn't mean that conservatism is over or the Republican Party will never come back or the country as we know it will never be the same. Maybe we'll make it through these 4 years and McMaster and Mattis will keep the foreign policy from going too far off the rails and Congress will be its usual ineffectual but not disastrous self, and we'll just kind of muddle along. That's kind of what we've done for the first 5-6 months.
Your optimism is overwhelming.
The courts will do their thing and all that. I kind of think that's possible, but also, Ramesh alluded to this. Presidency is a powerful position, and we've just never tested this proposition of whether our institutions are strong enough to constrain a president who really is irresponsible in a way I don't think former presidents have been.